thanks for this space to talk with you. We are a huge fan for Amorphis and all the Finland music metal. It's so crazy.
Nice to hear. And
Thank you.
super nice to hear that we also have fans in other side of the ocean.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? A few weeks ago, we talked with a Finland death metal melodic band. It's called Detropy, and this guy is already released his first album, and it's crazy. We talk a lot about it, but one thing that I want to ask you is, do you think the weather is important for the music that you make? Because they say the cold is very hard and there is nothing more to play music.
That's a kind of over exaggeration about Finland, but I understand it's a stereotype. Uh, yeah, the winter is pretty heavy. It's dark. It's fucking cold. But there's nice things to do, snow and shit. You know, you can go swim in a frozen lake. You can do cross country skiing. You can throw snowballs. You can make an igloo. You know,
That
but
sounds fun.
well, but yeah, that's kind of a true that I think the overall atmosphere in the music, which comes from the Scandinavia and Finland, you know, northern countries, it's not that happy. So we kind of have like a kind of like a direction points to the music that it's always kind of like sad or dark or depressive. I don't know why. Maybe it is the overall mental state of mind, or maybe it's just the dark humor, or maybe it is that we just don't like happy music in Finland. I don't know. But
I know, but
I don't think I ever wrote a happy song.
okay, but you make great music. Thanks for that.
Oh, thanks.
I want to ask you about from Colombia. What do you hear, and do you remember the first time when Amorphis came to our country?
Absolutely, yeah. I remember. It was very nice. Of course, we were a little bit scared about Bogota, like where can we go and can we take a taxi and shit, basic tourist stuff. But
Okay.
we visited with Jan, the drummer. We went to the Montserrat in Bogota in a day. We didn't really have that much time. I think we came up super late, like the last previous night, and then next morning we ran to the Montserrat to get some fresh air, and
Yeah.
it's pretty high. And then we already had the show, and yeah, I remember it quite well. And I remember the venue also. That the backstage was kind of like in front of the venue, in front of the stage up there. So you had to basically, when you went to the stage, you have to walk through the audience. And
Yeah.
I think it was sold out the show, and so we were horrified, like holy shit, we have to go through that crowd straight to the stage. But everything went smoothly. Audience was nice and no problems. But yeah, I even remember the backstage. It doesn't happen often, but it was first time in Bogota, and visiting countries first time. I think it's every time it's very memorable thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's absolutely different than going to the place you already been. So there's a lot of excitement in the air, and some sort of a feeling that how the hell did I end up in here?
Yeah, nice. And do you remember some the energy from metalheads? What do you expect? Is the reality and facts? How was that?
I remember the first show was, yeah, the atmosphere was through the roof, and very great party. People had good time, and as I said, it was sold out. I don't know what it means, but like how many tickets, but it maybe 600 or shit like that. But it was totally full house, and people were super excited, as were we, because it was actually really the first time in Colombia.
Okay, and this time will be memorable too.
I hope so. We are
Yes.
good. We've been touring already like 2 years with the Halo album. I think we are in excellent shape, maybe better than ever. So it's gonna be a killer show, and let's just hope the flights don't get delayed.
I want to speak Halo, your last album, a studio album, because you the last year released a live album, right? But talking about the Halo album, how was the concept and why the name is Halo? Because I love that name.
Well, I think we had a couple of ideas for the name. Normally, as boring as it sounds, we sometimes take the name from one song. Not always. Queen of Time. I don't think there's a song called Queen of Time. But Halo, we just took it the song. I'm maybe not the right person to talk about the context that much, but overall the music was super progressive, more progressive than we ever had, and like very complex songs with directions might change inside the song like this and there, and sometimes it's super massive and sometimes it's kind of like just relying on a riff and aggressive atmosphere. So we thought about that Halo represents the album pretty well because it doesn't give you too much, but it also it's kind of like a wide perspective towards the music, and we just couldn't find any other title which would fit. And of course we speculated it with the Halo is pretty, so many bands or artists have used that kind of approach as a title, but then we thought, like, who gives a fuck? It's if you start thinking about like what has been done, maybe I don't think there's not so much choices anymore to do anything in the modern world.
Right. But my next question is a little bit from your change your style, but you are will keeping your essence, right? This album is more progressive, and I love it. But do you guys think nowadays you are comfortable with some progressive death metal, or what is the reason you change a lot of times your style?
That's an excellent question, because there is no like a straight answer for that. We don't really, we never had like a band meeting where we talk about like what kind of music should we do next album. Otherwise, that would be the answer, that we agreed to make that kind of music. We agreed to make a progressive, aggressive album, but we didn't. Actually, never in my 26-year career in Amorphis, we never spoke about like what kind of music should we do. That's probably the reason that the music has changed sometimes. Also, there's some reasoning behind the producers, like Jens Bogren came along after we did like the Eclipse, Silent Water, Skyforger, Beginning of Times. I like to think them kind of like as a 4-album pack, because Marko Hietala from Nightwish was producing all the vocals for those albums. And then we did Circle, which we used first time for a long time, like external producer Peter Tegren. It got a little bit heavier, and we added a little bit more growling vocals, and then Jens Bogren came and took it even further. But we actually never spoke about it, like what to do. And to be honest, I was quite surprised with Halo. We didn't talk about the progressiveness, that let's add some progressive or different signatures or more complex stuff. We didn't talk about it, but when Esa sent his songs, and I sent my songs to the Google Drive, we were listening like, what the hell, there's some, we are turning a prog band, prog metal band. It was kind of coincidence, but it has to do something with something what Queen of Time's most challenging songs. Maybe they raised some fire to that both of us, and I think there was also couple of Olli's songs that we wanted to a little bit experiment that kind of a road also, but we never spoke about it, and we were really surprised how actually complex album Halo ended up. It's still pretty simple compared to the real prog bands, but as a Amorphis album, it's kind of like something we never did, and we are still wondering like how the hell this happened, because even the producer Jens didn't actually really add any progressive elements there. He mainly just spoke about the arrangement, like should we add a growling here, a growling there, or cut this part away, or let's add orchestra here. But he basically didn't like start to make them any complex than they already were. Like the Moon, it was basically almost like that already. Also like On the Dark Waters. Well, that's actually the only song which is not that progressive. Yeah, but all the songs were pretty much there already, and Jens just put the package together and cut out some pointless things here and there. And the producers normally do.
According to that, how was the process? Because it's kind of strange that you make your music, but you actually didn't know that it's progressive, or that the death metal melodic basics. I mean, do you know what I mean? So how was the process to make this album?
Well, the process was pretty simple. The same shit than always, making an album. And I don't think there was any challenges. Maybe for the drummer, because he had to play a lot. But he can do it easily. So, no, nothing really changed. We spent the same amount of time, and we basically practiced at all before we went to the studio. Well, we played a couple of times the songs through and shit like that. But one thing what was different, that there was this pandemic, and we couldn't travel to Sweden, where Jens was waiting for us to record, and so it was kind of like the session stretched out for till half a year. Normally you'd make like 5-6 weeks, the album 7 weeks, and that's it. Now it took like half a year, and most of the time I was waiting. So it was kind of interesting. For me at least, I play very late in the process because I like to adapt my keyboards to the vocals, and the vocals are not necessarily there when the bass is recorded. So it was kind of weird after half a year, you know, I've lost totally the atmosphere and, edge to the songs, because it took so long, and then suddenly I get 14 songs like, oh, hey, you have there's a week time, can you do the keyboards now? I'm like, what is this band? What are these songs? I can't remember a goddamn thing.